I welcome you to the first module of Blissful Parenting. And before we begin, congratulations for taking the first step towards Blissful Parenting. Today's course module is going to be on the topic Baby's Brain Building Formula. And understanding these concepts are very important because this module is going to set a foundation for all the upcoming modules that you're going to learn in this program. So, without wasting much time, let's begin. And before we begin, I want you to take a lot of notes. So make sure you have a pen and paper ready before we get started. So you can pause this video and get your pen and paper ready. And once you're ready, you can resume back this video and we can get started. I hope you all have come back. So in this course module, you're going to learn about how as a parent you can consciously contribute to your baby's brain development. This is what you are going to learn in this course module. So when we talk about the baby's brain development, the brain development begins when the child is in the womb. When you're 5 or 6 weeks pregnant, the brain development of your baby begins. So, the development of brain we can categorize into two segments. One before birth and the other one after birth. So, before birth, what are the factors that contributes to the baby's brain development? Number one, what the mother eats. Number two, what does the mother do? Number three, how does the mother feels? So it's very important that during your pregnancy, you have nutritious, a balanced diet. And then the things that you do, like activities like doing mandala, listening to Indian classical music, doing focused work, all of that contributes to the brain development. And apart from that, it's important that you remain happy so that you don't disturb the neuronal connection, the process of synapses that's happening in your baby's brain, right? So most of you may be already knowing all of this if you have attended my previous sessions. And I'm sure most of you must have already been doing all of these activities. If you're pregnant and if you have already delivered your baby, I'm sure you must have done most of these activities. And by now, your baby may be having so many neuronal connections, so many neurons that your baby is already super intelligent. Now, what do you do to enhance the brain development after the child's birth? So let's discuss what are the factors that contributes to the brain development after the birth. So number one is baby's diet. So what does your baby eat really matters when it comes to brain development. Number two, the baby's environment. This includes both physical and an emotional environment for the baby. And the next one is the baby's activities. So what opportunities and exposure you give to your baby comes under baby's activity. Let's discuss each of these factors in detail. So the number one, the baby's diet. So the brain building food, what are they? The best brain building food for a baby is breast milk. So it's important that you feed your baby just after the birth within the first 1 hour, and continue feeding your baby for at least 6 months after the birth, and if possible up to 1 year, and if you can even after that. Breast milk has all the nutrition, minerals, and whatever the baby requires, that too in the right proportion. And this is a super food for the baby's brain development. The next comes, you can see this list. Next in the list is protein, zinc, iron. So all what you see on the slide is all recommended by World Health Organization for a baby's brain development. So protein, zinc, high rich value of zinc is in nuts, whole grains, dairy products, egg, meat, etc. So you can quickly note down, you can pause this video and quickly note down all of this. And this you have to include these when the child starts eating solid. So after 6 months. So the first 6 months, the child is breastfed, uh, mother's breast milk, and then you have to make sure that the child gets all of these vital nutrition and vitamins in their diet. Okay. So apart from that, the child also requires iodine, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, and long chain polyunsaturated fatty acid. So this is DHA. Okay. So omega 3. So this is very rich in whole grain products, eggs, and cereals. Okay. So make sure that the child eats these brain building food for their healthy brain development. Next comes the environment. When we talk about environment, as I told you, there are two things, two kind of environment that you have to make sure that you give, two kind of environment that you keep in mind when it comes to brain development. Number one is the emotional environment. What is emotional environment? It is important for a child to be in an environment where the child feels secure, where the child feels loved. So emotionally, the child gets a lot of love and support. Even that is very much important for a baby's brain development. A research was conducted wherein they found that a child who is deprived of a lot of love, touch, hug, and then such children have less IQ compared to a child who was grown in an environment where he or she felt very secured and loved. So emotional environment is very, very essential for the brain development. You must have never thought of this side, but I want you to think, to provide your baby with healthy emotional environment, you have to surround your baby with love and energy. Not just for your baby, but for also people at home. So when you surround the entire house with energy, high energy of love, that vibration of love, that frequency of love, then naturally your child will feel extremely loved. Growing up in such environment will definitely help the child in brain development. Number two is the physical environment. Now, what comes in physical environment? Before I explain physical environment to you, I want to share an experiment that was done by Dr. Koch. What did he do? He took some rat, and he had he had divided them into two groups. One group, he had placed them in a sensory deprived environment, and the other group, he placed them in a sensory enriched environment. So, what is sensory deprived environment? An environment where these rats got less opportunity to see, hear, or feel. Okay, less chances for them to see, hear, or feel. Whereas the other group was placed in such an environment where they had a plenty of opportunity where they could hear a lot, see a lot, and feel a lot. Okay, so they were in a sensory enriched environment. What he did do? After some days, so these rats were infant rats, baby rats. So after some days, he took these rats and he put them all together in a maze. And he had put some food particles into the maze. And the rats, which were grown up in a sensory enriched environment, found the food very easily. Whereas the rats which were grown up in a sensory deprived environment found it very difficult to get the food, and some of them could not even find the food. So, what did his research prove? That sensory enriched environment is very much essential for a healthy brain development. The experiment did not end here. He sacrificed these rats and studied their brain. And he found the same. When he compared the brain of the rats which were grown in sensory deprived environment with the rats which were grown in sensory enriched environment, he found that the brain development was much greater, much more in the rats which were grown up in sensory enriched environment. So this experiment clearly proves that physical environment is very essential for the brain development. So what kind of environment are you going to provide for your baby? You have to provide an environment which is sensory enriched. So sensory enriched physical environment is an environment where the child can hear a lot. So you can sing a song, you can talk to your baby, let many people like other relatives, like the child's grandmother, grandfather, the child's father, whoever is available at home, let them talk to the child. If not anybody, you are there, right? Talk to the child. Allow the child to hear a lot. Allow the child to feel a lot. Give them a lot of sensory experiences. Okay. So allow the child to see a lot, allow the child to hear a lot, and allow the child to feel a lot. To allow the child to see a lot, you can take your child out and then you can literally point out each and every object or material things that you see and tell the name of the object. You can take your child to the garden, point out the tree and say the name of the tree, or just hold the baby and say, "This is the vast sky," and let the child see that. You can allow the child to feel the grasses. Okay, all this can be done very easily, right? So give them a lot of sensory enriched environment where they get a lot of opportunity to learn and contribute to their brain development. The next comes activities. So when I say activities, what are you going to do with your baby? Giving them opportunities and exposure. So what kind of opportunity and what kind of exposure? Learning opportunities and learning exposure. So what does this means? Read this. Our children's brain grows as much as we give them opportunity to grow. So if you do not provide an opportunity, it means you are hampering the growth of the brain. Let me put it into simple terms. I'll give you one example. Let's say there's a child who is in a place where the child do not hear any conversation, do not hear any sounds. Do you think the child will be able to acquire language skills? No, because the child did not get the opportunity to hear. Similarly, I'll give you another example. A child who is given an opportunity to climb the stairs will climb much better than a child who was never given an opportunity to climb the stairs. And then when you put both these babies, a baby who was always given a chance to climb this opportunity to climb the stairs, and another baby who have never seen a stairs in life, and one fine day you put them together in front of a stairs, the child who had got exposure or opportunity to climb the stairs before will just start climbing without thinking, will climb the stairs with so much of excellence and ease, whereas the other child may find it difficult to do the same. So, this, I think, with this example, you must have understood what I want to convey. Giving them opportunities and exposure is very important for their brain development. Of course, in every activity you do, you keep the child's safety at the front, but do not, completely restrain your child to get opportunities and exposure. For everything the baby wants to try, if you put a stop there, no, you cannot, don't try to walk now, you may fall down. So you're not giving an opportunity. Are you getting my point? Allow the child to get a lot of opportunities, learning opportunities and exposure. Now here comes all the other activities that we will be doing in this program. So all of the activities that you're going to do in the right brain program or the subconscious, all of that is a way wherein you're giving opportunities and exposure for your baby. Now, again, I would love to share one more research to prove this. A research was conducted by Dr. Boris. This man, what did he do? He picked up infant uh, kittens, I mean, infant cats, kitten. He picked up some kittens and puppies of the same mother. And he divided these siblings into two groups, experimental group and controlled group. And what did he do? Experimental group, he had placed them in a normal environment. Normal environment, just like how other cats, other kittens or puppies grow. And he placed the controlled group in a revolving turnable. You must have seen in cities there are big towers and turnable restaurants. So similar kind of revolving turnable, they were placed on the turnables and they got an opportunity to see a moving world. So these turnables were moving, revolving very slowly, and these puppies and the kittens on this turnable were getting a good opportunity to see a revolving world. And then what did Dr. Boris do? He sacrificed them one by one and started studying their brain. And he found that those kittens and puppies in the control group, where they got an opportunity to see a moving world, had 28.5 to 35 percentage extra brain growth compared to their siblings who were grown up in a normal environment, who did not got that opportunity to see the moving world. So again, this proves that, opportunities matters when it comes to brain development. And what is true in these puppies and kittens is true for the babies too. I hope this made it very clear to you how opportunities and giving exposure to your baby is important. Next, let's move on to this. Why early years are important. So, we are going to discuss this in the next segment. So, I hope whatever you have learned so far is crystal clear to you. And I must have made it very clear here so that, by now, you know what is very important for brain development, right? So, bye for now. Let's meet in the next segment where we are going to discuss why early years are important.